Hello, the Keynote Chair with the Tarotscopes for Gemini season, Leo Sun, Moon, and Rising. My Leos, this Gemini season is more transitory than normal. We have so many transits happening, so many shifts and changes in the cosmos. I will say that this is less struggle time and more just shifting into different spaces. So, really embodying Gemini things is going to be helpful for all of us. I'm going to run through the transits and then do your tarot reading, but this is a really exciting season. It also feels kind of like the turning point of the year. Towards the end of the year, things are going to get a little sticky again because we have a lot of retrogrades. But this kind of midpoint of the year, Gemini season, Cancer season, Leo season, even a little bit into Virgo season, it's all really looking like more positive energy, more ability to grow and expand versus to constantly struggle and have fights, deal with things. So this is really exciting for all of us. So just kind of giving the rundown of like the timeline of all of this. We start off on May. So obviously this happens on, I want to say it's the 19th. Um, it's either May 19th or May 20th. I should have looked that up. Here, let me check my notes. I have gone all the way into May with this. Sorry, y'all. I'm not paying attention to this. Oh, page over. 20th. Boom. I was right. So May 20th, we have all of this happening. We go into Gemini season. May 24th, we get Saturn's first ingress into Aries. Yes, it will retrograde back on the 1st of September, but this is the first time we move into Aries. It is the second to the last kind of like moment for Pisces people who have Saturn in Pisces, or any sign that has Saturn in Pisces. So this is kind of our first introduction. Just remember, it is going in adjacent to Neptune, so things are going to be a little bit illusionary. We might be doing a little bit of a mirror maze in here, but it is fresh, new energy, and it's really exciting to experience the Saturn shift yet again, especially since Saturn Pisces was intense, especially with how close it's been to the North Node, and opposing the South Node. Then we move into Mercury in Gemini, which is the very next day on the 25th, and then a new moon on the 26th, which has Gemini really, not Gemini, Mercury really close to it. So we get the ruler of the moon close to the sun. I feel like it's going to be a nice, expansive moment. Then Venus goes into Taurus on the 6th. I think it's the 6th. Yeah, 6th of June. And we are finally out of the retrograde signs. Obviously, it's been out of retrograde for a second, but we're now officially out of Aries and we're into domicile for Venus. It is what place is most comfortable and happy. This transit is really nice and supportive and generous. Then we get Mercury going into Cancer on the 8th of June. Not exactly like a place where Mercury shines or doesn't shine. This doesn't have really have like a exaltation or detriment here. But it is a really great place to really get in touch with how you're feeling and really express how you're feeling, especially after those retrogrades, to have some clarity of thought and to really be able to, maybe in a poetic way, really put forth our feelings and expression into the world, which is really beautiful. It's also about connecting because don't forget Mercury rules commerce and merchants. It's also about connecting with people when it comes to work and business that actually align with us and are on the same page. Then we have Jupiter going to Cancer the very next day on the 9th, and this is big deal. Super exciting. I think this is one of the transits that most astrologers are the most excited about. We also have a beautiful new moon that's going to happen in Cancer season. That's going to be really beautiful. But yeah, after Jupiter and Gemini, I think we're all looking forward to a more expansive, benefic Jupiter rather than someone who plays little jokes. So that's really beautiful. Then we have a full moon on the 11th of June, and while this is square the nodes, which makes it a little eclipse-ish or eclipsy, we do have that rulership of that Jupiter. So there's a nice little undercurrent of gentleness in something that can be pretty bombastic and large. And then our last one is the 17th of June, and we have Mars entering into Virgo, officially out of the sign it retrograded in. I know it was the early degrees of Leo, but your sign, Leo, is finally free from Mars. And while Mars can be really activating and really get things done, it also does bring up things like pain and conflict and having to deal with resistance from ourselves and others. So yeah, this is a really shifty season. Like we don't normally get this many transitory moments. all the personal planets shifting, Saturn, Jupiter. We're also preparing for Uranus to shift in Cancer season. So just a massive amount of change in this season. And like I said, I think it behooves us all, regardless of our signs, to really embody mutability and the essence of Gemini and shift and change and move with the times rather than, especially as a fixed sign Leo, digging our heels in. It's the time to allow ourselves to kind of change and shift. But let's get into your cards. We have your archetype card, which is the maiden. And I've had beef with this card before because in the description, I find it really patriarchal. Sorry, person who wrote this. That's just how I feel. Um, but for me, the maiden is about self actualization. I know a lot of us, regardless of gender and gender expression, those early years, the years that would be technically considered maidenhood, if we're talking about like femininity, which, like, whatever, are like considered these years of naivete. In like pop culture, it's considered a time where we get manipulated by older men, and just adults in general. But to me, maidenhood, if we take it out of context, is really about coming home to self. It's really about engaging with self in an honest way and cutting out the middleman and self actualizing. And yeah, does society and patriarchy and misogyny prey on people in the maiden stage? Absolutely. That includes, people who identify as male. There's, you know, these impressionable times. Oftentimes people with not great, why can't I remember the word? With bad intentions. There we go. Like, what? With bad intentions do try to manipulate this phase, but this is a phase of self actualization and calling oneself in. Also, if you look at the details on this card, this is about understanding and engaging in pleasure. And I think this season is a great time for you to reconnect with yourself. So, maybe you're not in the maiden phase of life anymore, but to really give yourself maybe the maidenhood you never got. And like I said, if you identify as a man or whatever, I think this can apply to you as well. And this is very patriarchal language. And the idea of the maiden has been fetishized and all these gross things. But give yourself a maidenhood this Gemini season, the ability to be flexible and to change and also to self actualize and to create your own values and morals and desires, to play with pleasure and try new things, and this can be sexually, this can be um, sensually, this can be just anything that brings you joy and pleasure and tactile um, orgasmic joy. Really invest in that this Gemini season. Really take that anything can happen vibe from the universe with all these transits, and dive in and really go in with this belief that anything can happen and that you can do anything, regardless of where you are in life. Be in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and still embrace maidenhood as a idea of freedom, limitless possibilities and joy and expansion and all of these things that so often society tells us we can't have as we get older, which they also tell us we can have as we get younger. They just use different words. So yeah, really enjoy this season. Really play with yourself and have fun. And then starting off, I think this is very apropos. We have the lovers. This is about connecting not only with ourselves, but with others, and finding people who are either also in their maiden stage or who are willing to honor and respect ours. And this can be a lover, this can be friends, this can be family, just really reestablishing what we want in relationships and what we desire and what we need. And also being in relationships where we get to change and shift and become anything and everything we've ever wanted. So often people try to pigeonhole other people into boxes, what stage of life they're in. I find it funny because so many people like don't understand other people's life stages even though they've experienced them, and then they try to tell them how to live it, and it's like, you're talking to me like I'm in my 20s and I'm in my 30s, and I don't have the same problems that I had in my 20s as I do in my 30s. It's a different phase of life. But yeah, people who let you change and who don't hold you to these archaic standards and don't force you into existing in ways that you don't enjoy. And then finding those people who truly want to experience you in your fullness and have fun, and you don't have to hide yourself around them. This is what Gemini season is for. It is about being the fullness of yourself. It's about blossoming into everything you desire and all the things you don't know that you're going to desire yet. So I love that the lovers was first. It's about finding people who honor and adore you and find you pleasurable to be around. And not pleasurable as in, oh, you are an exact mirror of what I want, but pleasurable because you are something new and refreshing and dynamic and something really tactile and gorgeous. Um, not the customer service version of pleasure, like pleasure to serve you. No, as in pleasure, joy, sensualness, all of these things. And then we have a gorgeous Six of Wands, which the Cancers had as well. And I really love this because it does feel as though all of the struggles of earlier 2025 is starting to pick up traction, and you're starting to get the things that you've had to struggle through for. Like the goals that you were trying to get are starting to come to you. And this is a great opportunity to really affirm with the universe that this is what you want. And I've said this before, and I said this to the Cancers. So many of my clients, when we start to do work to release from past lives, when we do karmic remediation, when, we're trying to work through their chart to get them what they want, almost immediately, the universe offers them something that is almost what they desire. Just to see if you really are clear on what you want. Like, is this really what you want? Because we'll give it to you, but we want to make sure. And if you accept that almost, you will probably recycle back through some of those patterns until it comes back around again. So don't accept an almost, accept what you want. And no, I'm not talking about like a list of like strict rules and regulations. I'm talking about getting what you desire and having your needs met and fulfilled. If it's not being fulfilled all the way and it's not going to, don't hold out, but leave yourself open to something that is better. Do not short sell yourself because someone is trying to sell you that you're never going to get anything better. That is not true. So celebrate these moments. Look for these victories. They're going to come. You're going to have them. And, recognize like what your dreams were earlier and how you have fulfilled them. I think so many of us, because of the pace of life and capitalism and all these things and systems that oppress us, so many of us forget the dreams that we have attained. And so when they come, we are already moved on to something else or having to deal with a different issue. This Gemini season, really pay attention to where you're attaining the stuff you desire, to where you've asked the universe for something for a long time and now you have it. And that's a moment, and this is what I told the Cancers as well, to say yes, thank you, more please. To be like, yes, I affirm you. This is what I want. This is what I need. These are my desires. Thank you for hearing and listening and giving me what I want. So it's really beautiful, and I'm excited because honestly, the past several seasons, the cards have been like, it's about to be rough, folks. Buckle up. All these tower cards, all of these difficult cards. And you do have some tricky cards in here, I'm not going to lie. But it's like much more balanced to like conflict and resolution and difficulty and ease. It's not just hard. We do have Five of Wands. As you become more true to yourself, as you listen to yourself, as you get your desires, people are going to be spicy about it. And they're just not going to be happy because they haven't waited for their dreams. They're not going to be happy because they haven't been clear with the universe and they're still holding on to stuff, and you're getting things that they think they deserve, but they haven't done the work. And so ignore it when people try to yuck your yum or come in and tell you what to do or try to take over. Coming from that maiden card, try to be like, oh, you don't know what you want. I know better than you. I can give you your dreams. Me constantly playing an older man, being a predator. They're going to try to control and change your narrative and force you back into a box and make you feel like you don't have agency. And that's just not true. So just know that when that happens, that's just a reaction from people, and that is their reaction and their responsibility. Then we have Temperance. There's a beautiful flow happening in Gemini season, and something that you can really move forward to attain. It's about energy balance. It's about creating nice cyclical moments in your life and your body that are sustainable. It's about being in a symbiotic relationship to the energy and the world around you. Ways you can cultivate this are with a magical practice or a spiritual practice. You can also do energy practices, cycling energy through the body, cleansing, aura cleanses, things like that. I think it'll be really helpful for you to kind of purge the energy out. Partially, I'm saying this because your final card is the Nine of Swords. When you do all of this work, when you start to see the change in your life, fears are going to creep in because it is new and unfamiliar. And sometimes, if you've never gotten the stuff you've wanted, getting the stuff you've wanted is scary because you're used to things being shit. And so you might very well fall into this fear a little bit, into this insecurity and this feeling that, like, what if I get everything I want and then it's taken away? Or what if what I want is not the right thing? There's no such thing as the right thing to want. The only way you can fall into that is if you're constantly being a B word to people. So want what you want. Know that the fears are going to come up, but know that you can create this nice sense of safety and protection. And you can recognize the parts of yourself that are afraid and be like, yeah, I get it. We've never gotten to experience certain things. And it can be scary to finally get the stuff you're working for. And also, when you get the stuff you're working for, you have to find new dreams. And that can be scary too, because you're like, I didn't know that I wanted this. So know that in all of this, that you deserve to have space for your fear. You deserve to also feel safe. And you deserve to enjoy and experience the world with fresh eyes. And don't let anyone take that from you. Tell them to F off. Go take their garbage somewhere else. But yeah, I think this is a really hopeful reading. I think it's a really this is a really progressive season for you. You are going to get resistance. You are going to get people who don't believe in you. Who cares? You are a maiden stepping out on your own as a fully formed adult for the first time. Obviously, probably not literally, but like this is where your soul is at. And you get to experience the world in a safe and beautiful way. And the people who try to come in and try to siphon off that beautiful energy, flip them the bird. Tell them no. Tell them to go shove it where the sun don't shine. Really commit to your passion and fire. So often, innocence and youthfulness and honesty and entering into life is fetishized and taken from us and shoved into these forms that aren't nice. And you don't have to let someone do that. And you can experience this at any age. You can enter the world as a spring child anytime you want. So do it. I get all teary about it. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for this season. Blessed Gemini season. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my work. Pop any comments down below. You can connect with me through DMs if you have any questions about my readings or my practice. I am really excited what the season will bring to you. And I know you are all capable of being very, very brave, even when the fears and doubts enter. I love you all, and I will see you later.